One of the biggest complaints about getting involved with avoidant attachers is their actions don't match their words. They sabotage themselves. They say they want a relationship, and then they run away. But did you know that you could be doing the exact same self-sabotaging behavior and you don't even realize it? Someone runs away from you, and then you go online to try to find steps, how to get your ex back, how to get out of the friend zone, or how to regain someone's interest who maybe ghosted you or is pulling away. Well, ultimately, you're following a set of 3 steps that were designed to sabotage you from the very beginning. Step 1. Hyper-focus on someone who has already told you in whatever capacity that they cannot be with you right now. Step 2, continue to observe them. Try to figure out what it is they like or what they're looking for, and then fit yourself into that category so they'll realize they made a mistake and come back to you. Oh, but don't forget step number 3, and that's the most important step, because when step 1 and step 2 inevitably fail, force the relationship forward by any means possible, because if you don't win their love, doesn't that mean you're a loser? Absolutely not. My name is Maria, and while you might not actually be following some black and white list of steps off of a computer website like I used to, even so, we all still manage to sort of follow suit in the same steps without even realizing it. And then we all fall into the same trap that avoidant attachers do. We say we want a relationship, but now we're never going to get one. We are self-sabotaging by going after someone who will not give it to us. And I am not saying that makes you avoidant, but I am saying you have a pattern of being attracted to people who will ultimately begin to avoid you. So if you would like to learn 2 big patterns of people who always end up begging and chasing and reaching so you don't continue to be a victim of falling into this self-sabotaging trap, then grab a bottle of nail polish and let's talk. Sometimes people tell me that they always feel like they're the one reaching in relationships. But if you've ever stepped back and observed people who do always feel like they're reaching, you will notice 2 very distinct patterns. Pattern number 1. They are not staying in their own lane that aligns with what they say they want. For example, I was watching a video where a man was complaining that he had a hookup with a woman who got angry and trashed his car because he basically discarded her right after their one-night stand. And in the comments, you'll see a lot of men saying things like, "This is why men are walking away from dating." Well, hold on there, cowboy. Hooking up with women and then throwing them away right afterwards, that's not dating. That's hooking up. And if you want to hook up, fine, you're an adult, have fun, and be as safe as you can. And I certainly do not believe you should have your property vandalized because another adult who consensually agreed to hook up now has a case of buyer's remorse. But there is a lot of risk when you make the decision to hook up with people that you don't really know. And please don't call it dating. Dating implies more than one date. It's a process of getting to know people that you don't know. And sometimes, because of our past traumatic experiences, we make the mistake of feeling like sleeping with people is how we get to know them. Sleeping with people means that they want us, they think that we're attractive, and it's how we get closer. Well, we all end up feeling, I don't know, like we're being thrown out with the garbage. And, dating didn't earn this bad reputation. Hookups did. So let's not give up and sabotage our entire love life and swear off dating forever because we're not staying in the lane of what we claim we want. But again, because of past experiences, we may not understand that we're not exactly walking in that straight line to get the things that we want. And we know what we really want up here, but it ends up coming out in a really backwards way. We're sabotaging ourselves and we don't even realize it. For example, I went through a time in my life where I would go on dates with guys, and within the first couple of dates, I would announce that I never wanted to get married because I thought that's what was attractive to men, because I grew up in a household where marriage, well, it didn't look like either person was having fun. So I didn't think marriage was desirable to people. So when I said on those dates that I didn't want to be married, I thought I was making it easy for the other person. I thought I was making myself more accessible and attractive to them, and I had no idea that I was sabotaging myself right off the bat. And I am positive that more than one of those men, when I made that announcement that I wasn't interested in a serious relationship, yeah, they put me into the hookup category. And then I would have no idea why guys would love me and leave me. I'm so accessible. I'm so easygoing. I go with the flow. Why would you leave? Well, it's because when a healthier person who is looking for a long-term relationship hears something like that, well, instead of forcing the relationship forward, they know it has an expiration date. They're not going to risk their ultimate goal of having something serious. Oh, but ladies, trust me when I tell you, it certainly won't stop them from trying to hook up with you first. And if you don't have boundaries and you're not actually telling people what you want and staying in your lane and staying aligned, yeah, you'll sleep with them. And then when they leave you, you're going to be pretty hurt and you won't understand why. Maybe when you were younger, it felt safer not to express what you really wanted, to make yourself into what you thought everyone else wanted. But if you take this into your adulthood, this self-suppression will not keep you safe anymore. You're going to go into the dating world and get blindsided. You'll feel abandoned and re-traumatized all over again. And this starts to become a pattern. And speaking of patterns, pattern number 2 that you can spot people who feel like they are always reaching in relationships. Just look at who they're reaching for. They get involved in relationships with people who don't want to get married, even though they do. They're reaching for friendships with people who are maybe in a different season of their life. Like, for example, maybe you're single. But if you continue to try to make plans with someone who is in a season of their life where they just got married or they just had a baby and you're like, hey, let's go out to concerts, let's go out to bars. Why don't you ever come to Chippendale night with me anymore? Of course, you're always reaching. They're getting ready to start a family or they've just started a new family. And I know that this sounds like a weird example, but trust me, it's a very real example of how we don't realize in multiple relationships that we might be going for people who are not available to us. You're giving the I want to get married vibes, but they're not looking for marriage. It's not what they want. They're not going to reach for it. Sometimes I feel like when people reject us and we continue to reach for them, maybe it doesn't actually have anything to do with that specific person, and maybe it has a lot more to do with how their attention made you feel. You know, we're reaching for this feeling of living in life as the person we always wanted to be, sexy and desirable and cherished and loved and seen. If you are starving to feel seen, even when someone who is completely inappropriate makes you feel that way, like maybe a married coworker, well, that's how we fall into that trap of getting more involved than we anticipated with people who really aren't appropriate, and they can never give us 100% of themselves. We only get a half love, and we're sabotaging ourselves right off the bat. Sometimes we get involved with people where it's not going to end well, and we accidentally walk right into it because maybe they told you they're planning on moving in a few months, or they really aren't looking for anything serious, and maybe it wasn't supposed to be anything serious. But the problem is, okay, well, it's not a problem, it's just a natural fact. We get attached to people, and in continuing to go deeper and get more involved in a relationship with someone where the ending, you can predict it before it even starts. That's self-sabotage. If you start dating a guy who says he's already been divorced, he's already got kids, and he doesn't want to get married, and you want to get married, if you continue to push thinking that you're going to change him, that is absolutely self-sabotage. And you're making yourself completely unavailable to people who actually want the same thing you do. There are plenty of people out there who want to get married, just like there are plenty of people out there who enjoy being single, and I think that's great. If you want to live that single lifestyle, have as much fun as you can. I wish I had. I think if you've been single for a while and you're not at least somewhat enjoying yourself, You're probably doing a lot of the same stuff I did, which was constantly chasing rejection, and therefore your entire single life involves constantly feeling rejected. One of the biggest changes I made that I wish I had implemented years sooner was I started going out on dates with people, and they had to, at the very least, want to be there on that date with me. It didn't have to be a love match. We didn't have to be already planning to get married, because dating is a process of getting to know people. We're still getting to know each other, but my goodness, if you can at least tell the other person wants to be there with you, the quality of dates that you have will go up. You'll have more fun. You won't spend the entire date thinking that any second, if you say the wrong thing, they're out the door. You don't know when you'll see them again. If you show up wearing the wrong thing, they won't find you sexy enough. And if you don't spend 3.5 hours minimum doing your makeup, they're not even going to give you a second look. Well, welcome to the other half, where we know attraction is not just about looks. We also need to take care of the inner half. And you do this by being very careful at what you consume, because there's a lot of noise out there. It's a whole big social media echo chamber designed to pit us against each other, pit partners against each other, and it'll convince you that things out there are completely hopeless. The only thing that is hopeless is continuing to push for a relationship that is not in the same season as you. They are not on the same page as you. They don't want what you want. They're not even interested enough to change their behavior. They don't care how it's making you feel. They don't care enough about having you in their life to even budge an inch. Compromise is not in their vocabulary. And hey, if they even decide to talk to you at all, or are they stonewalling you today? These are not good signs that things are going to suddenly be different. It's never been different. So why all of a sudden would they wake up one day completely different? People can change. Yeah, I mean, it is true, but I think it takes a lot. It's not an overnight process, and the change is noticeable. It's not just anxious words being thrown out when you finally pack your stuff and you're walking out the door and they're like, no, I'll do it. I can do this. I'll go to therapy. I'll stop liking those girls on Instagram. No, it's not like that. A real change comes, especially when there's been space, time for reflection, someone who has decided to make the commitment because they do want you in their life. Anytime I've made a commitment to change something in my life, I'm sure other people noticed. I am sure when I finally stopped the pattern of texting my exes to get validation, and I spent the mornings painting my nails instead, they probably noticed that I was no longer repeating the pattern of reaching out to them. My patterns needed to change. They were not healthy for me, and I finally went into no contact for real. And no contact isn't just for you. It's also great for whoever you've been reaching for. It gives them a chance to have the space to really acknowledge, do they want to change in order to keep you in their life? Changing starts with a realization. It starts with the space to help them have that realization. You don't know how life is going to end up, but at least they've had the space to really understand what the reality of their life is going to be like without you. But I want to make one thing very clear. I am not talking about changing who you are. I changed my patterns, but I didn't change who I was. And I guarantee you, any of the exes who ever thought that I was annoying would probably still think that if I was in their life today. Some people are just wrong for us. The only difference now is I don't continue to try to win people like that over. That guy who's married, that woman who only wants to be friends, your ex who can't handle a relationship right now. It is important to stay grounded in the reality instead of trying to navigate the world and what you hope will happen someday, just going on how it looks in the future in your mind. Try not to fall into this trap of a scarcity mindset where you start to think that nothing has worked in the past, so that must mean that nobody likes you and you have to make this relationship work or you'll be alone forever. And maybe the reason that none of your relationships worked in the past is you were just reaching for the wrong people, and it is as simple as that. You don't need to change who you are. You just got to do a little bit of a redirect. And I think people who've gained some wisdom in relationships get to a point where they understand that you don't have to have tons of followers and friends. It's not about getting the most people to like you. It's about being yourself so it inspires the right people towards you. And then you build a relationship with those people. You'll find over the years that some of the best relationships in your life were built over time through the process of getting to know them. These relationships are not forced together by two people where one person isn't super interested and the other person stays because they believe they will never find anyone better. So now you know the signs to look for. Are you staying in your lane with people that you can connect with because you are both in the same season of your life? And if you want to learn why trying to fix someone is also setting yourself up for sabotage, I'll put that video in the description below. And as for the people who gave me my very first hype points last month, I'd like to give you a personal thank you and let you know that I ran out and I bought this week's nail polish just for you. And hey, there's no call for any jealousy on this channel. You can also have your own personal nail polish color. All you got to do is hit that hype button and yell, "Whoa!" Please don't beat me up in the comments. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting the other half.